Hi, I'm Erica. Welcome to Powered by Joy podcast. Here we are talking to you if maybe you've been bored, stuck, frustrated, maybe felt powerless to make any changes and just in the same space for a long time, and you are looking for a way to have some joy and feel alive again and just aren't sure where to start. We are talking about that here, and we're doing it and teaching you how to do it without sacrificing your commitment to your loved ones, your family, and your friends. So today we are talking about what I'm going to call an ode to the pause. And we're not talking about an ode to menopause, although that has definitely taught me how to pause as well. Anyways, so no, we're not talking about that. So I just decided to share. This came to me, and I was thinking about how this has been such a powerful tool for me. So I started coaching with an amazing woman named Coach Kamille Rose, and that was on 11/11. I just figured that out. Of 2019, and it has changed my life, and I feel it has made me a much better version of myself. She has been key to that. She can probably testify to that. I started coaching with her and was not in my joy at all. I didn't even know how to find it for myself and had a lot of issues, we'll call it, that I needed to work through. And there's a lot of tools and skills that I did not know I didn't have. And if you don't know what you don't know, how are you supposed to help yourself? So, anyways, I'm so thankful that I connected with her and took that scary step of hiring a coach that I met with monthly and weekly, and teach and having her teach me about this tool that she calls the power of the pause. So thank you, Kamille, for that. So I looked back over that, and I just feel like that's probably been one of the most powerful tools. And so I started writing a list of it, because when I first started, I was like hearing her be like, you really need to learn to pause. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, well, I meditate. So like, I totally pause. I got this down. So didn't know what I didn't know. So I thought I was totally nailing it. And then I came to realize that, yeah, I was not using the pause in most of my life. Okay. So I definitely realized over time that there was a lot of areas that I needed to be using this pause, the power of this pause. And I would say the one that took the longest and was the hardest for me, and I'm still totally working on it, is using the power of the pause in my words and what comes out of my mouth. And I am a work in progress. I am not speaking from a place of mastery. I am speaking from a place of practicing getting better on a regular basis and not judging myself for falling off the wagon, or like just quickly catching myself. So this is definitely something that I've had to practice learning, because I remember I need to pause. Silence my phone. There you go. Okay. So I had to have some hard lessons and hear some really painful feedback through my life, and that happens with our loved ones and relationships, and hear how my words make other people feel. And that's, whoo, that is some deep work right there. That is hard work to look yourself in the mirror of other people's experience interacting with you. And when we're really wrapped up in ourselves, maybe don't even know we are, how are we supposed to be aware of like how we're making other people feel? If you're going through life reacting as things happen, then you are not choosing how to respond. And so that's where the power of the pause came in. I think that that was the hardest one for me, and still is, well, I guess it's two pieces of it. It's my thoughts in my mind and my emotions, but also my words and what actually comes out of my mouth. So, um, I would say that this has been quite a journey for me. And especially when you have adult kids, they can offer you a lot more fantastic feedback on how you make them feel when you communicate. And I do feel that I've tried really hard to work on that for myself and try to ask or have those conversations that are super uncomfortable sometimes, to be like, hey, like, why don't you want to communicate with me, or what might I need to do different? And those things can't get put into place. Like, if they give you specific feedback, like, how are you supposed to um, try to implement any of those changes if you don't catch yourself by pausing? So let's give an example. Let's say that you are in an interaction where maybe somebody um, made a request of you, and you were like, can you not see that I am busy? I've got my plate full. I've got this going on. I have work. I have to take care of the kids. I have to schedule this appointment with the doctor. I still have to deal with the dog who's down at the vet. Like, God, how can you ask me to do this other thing? Like, can you not see? And I would say my old self would have been like, can you not see how busy I am right now? Like, something, or maybe a harsh, or be like, I don't have time for that. Why are you asking that of me? So, the suggestion I would make that I feel is helping me is like hearing the request, and give yourself like, it just start with one, maybe just one breath in through your nose and out into your belly. It just has to be that long. And it's okay if they have to wait for your response. You have permission to let someone wait 2 seconds so you can breathe and think before you respond. One breath, one pause, 1 second of pause. Okay, they're asking because they might need help and may not realize how much I have on my plate. How can I respond and let them know that doesn't work for me, maybe, and I need to set that boundary, or that it's not going to happen when they want it to? So that goes to that pausing and thinking and not reacting. So instead of going, I don't have time for that, you could, if you opened your eyes, you could see that. Instead, you're like, okay, I have a lot on my plate right now, and I'm struggling to figure out how to get everything done today. Is that something that can wait for tomorrow? Or can we figure out another solution? Or, today that just doesn't work for me. I would love to be there for you, but I can't do that. Can we figure out another solution? Is going to go a long ways in progressing that conversation and not making the other person feel bad or feeling the wrath of your anger. And you're also honoring and acknowledging yourself and your needs in the middle of that. So yes, we're learning how to honor our own needs, but we also have to learn how to honor the needs of people we're in relationship with. And that starts with usually our family and close friends. And so it's definitely a training and process, and takes a lot of courage and vulnerability to sometimes say, I can't do it. I can't carry all of that on my plate. Like, my plate is full. Like, and I think a lot of us are really hesitant to say no, or I can't right now, because then we're not, maybe we don't feel worthy of saying no. We're like, I got to do it. I got to carry the superwoman cape. I have to be able to carry it all. And this is a total side note, but think about this. If we're always willing to pick up all the pieces and take the yes and take things and always take on other people's things, we're robbing them of the experience of having to shoulder more things themselves oftentimes, and then they don't get to grow strong shoulders and back and muscle and like the fortitude and the grit. If we're always wearing our superwoman cape or superman cape and doing too much for other people, um, and sometimes not pausing and going, this isn't actually something I should be taking care of. I've got too much on my plate, or maybe that's just not your circus, it's their circus and you should be taking it on. So that pause gives you the opportunity to go, oh, I just checked in with myself and yep, that's not for me. Like this is actually something I can't take on right now. And that's all you need to say. We don't owe an explanation. Sometimes we don't have to give that explanation of why we can't be there all the time. There are times where we need to be there and listen and make our effort. And I always think that's important to be there for our family and friends. But I also think we can swing the other way sometimes and handle too much. Anyways, back to the pause. So I was thinking today about how we have this power of the pause. It's been such a cool tool and it's free. Guess what? It's free to pause. So I think when we're talking about it, you want to realize that it starts with your thoughts. So I would say one of the things you're doing is pausing to check in first with how you feel. How does your body feel? How does your mind feel? How do your emotions feel? Am I breathing? Is my breathing tight and shallow? Am I breathing relaxed into my belly? Are my shoulders up in my ears? Are shoulders down and I'm relaxed? How are you feeling? Learning to pause and check in and see, do I need anything right now? Does my inner child like need to pause and go play, work out, go outside and take a walk, ride a bike, work out, lift some heavy weights or go dance, or I might need 5 minutes to just breathe or read a book or just listen to a song or go outside and look at the clouds, anything. So sometimes we aren't doing that. And so there's so many times that we need to pause. And I think there's two sides to our pause. There's the learning to pause to check in. Well, I guess there's actually three. There's learning to check in with ourselves, checking in with all things. How's my spirit, soul feeling? Like, how's all of me feeling? And is there anything I need right now? I might just need some water. I might be thirsty. I might not have eaten anything good today that has actual nutritional value. And my body's screaming for it. I might need sleep. We might need a nap. That's not for me most of the time, but like maybe just sleeping 8 hours instead of 4 or 5. Good luck if you're having hot flashes. So, um, anyhow, so there's that side of it, is learning to check in with our intuition, our knower, what do we need right now, but also there's the pause to think about letting go of things that you don't want to be doing. So I want to put a pause button on reacting in anger and spewing what comes out of my mouth first. I might want to pause social media notifications on my phone. I might want to pause and turn off the ringer on my phone. I might, like I forgot to do that before starting this. Uh, we might want to pause having so much clutter in our house. And we might pause to throw some stuff out, or we might pause to organize or make something beautiful in our home space, or maybe put a motorcycle in your living room. You might need to pause to put a cool thing to look at inside your house. Who knows? So, anyways, pausing to maybe you're pausing eating junk food right now or alcohol. There's almost like pausing things that you're allowing into your life. And maybe it's just short because like the thought of not having your ringer on brings you anxiety because you're always plugged in, or not having the notifications for emails on your phone might be like, oh my gosh, or social media, like what? I might miss somebody's message, but I have news for you. We'll survive when we don't have those notifications on. But there's power in that pause, because when we take the moment and go, no, I deserve to pause these things having access to me, it opens up space for you to check in with yourself and go, oh, you know what? I'm going to go outside and go for a walk. I'm going to work out, or I'm going to listen to a song, or I'm going to draw. So I'm going to go hang out with my grandkids, or I'm going to go play with my kids and take them to the park. I'm going to go for a motorcycle ride, or I'm going to pause and plan a track day. I'm going to go out and wax my bike, whatever the thing is. It makes more space for that when we hit the pause button on some of those other things that are not actually adding into their life. They're drainers. So I guess you could look at it as having a pause button for drainers in your life. Okay. And then there's the other, I'd say the third, which is probably more important, is the pause that can come from pausing the drainers, is pausing to allow in the things that pour into you and refill your cup and your energy and your happiness and your joy. So when is the last time you paused to acknowledge something that you did right today, or you had a little win, or you did something that was an act of self-love, like you had a cup of tea, or you drank all the water you wanted to drink, or you worked out, or you went for a walk, or maybe you got a new shirt or something that just makes you feel really fabulous, or you name it. So when's the last time that you paused and just acknowledged the growth you've had? Because you are not the same person you were yesterday, last week, a month ago, a year ago, a decade ago. You're not the same person. There is something you've learned, and there's something you've grown in, whether you realize it or not. So I just think we don't pause to acknowledge that and how far we've come. And I read a book called 10X. I can't remember the author's name, but he had this powerful exercise in there, and it had me walking through and writing out like big moments in my life and like what I learned and gained from them. And that was so powerful to like go back and look at these big moments in my life and learn and see what I gained from them, even if they were painful or a big stressful thing, or maybe some of it was joyful, but like, what did I gain from it? So it's really powerful for us to pause and look for the things we have grown in and acknowledge it. So another thing is, when is the last time you paused and just gave someone a compliment or praise? When was the last time you just randomly looked at your husband and said, I so appreciate that you get up and go to work every day? Yeah, that's a thing. Like, why there are husbands out there or partners out there that don't hold a job. Yeah, that happens. So like I mean, I appreciate that, or whatever that thing is, like, I really appreciate how affectionate you are with me, or I really appreciate and love it when you send me a text in the morning. Like, whatever the thing is, just if it's your kids, like, I really love that you are so kind to your brother when he hurts himself, or that you check in on him when he hurts himself, that you make sure he's okay. That, just taking that time. Or maybe you're in line at the grocery store. I love to do this. I like to look for something to offer a compliment to, like the checker, or I love to find something to praise or acknowledge if there's someone like standing in line, or I'm shop, or like they have cool shoes, or maybe they have fun glasses or fun nails or whatever. I like to try, I almost make it a game to try to find something when I'm out of the house, to find a compliment that I can give. So it's like a pause in my moment, and I'm running my errands, get my groceries, like, I'm going to see. So if I see something and I'm like, oh, that brought me joy to see her fun, sparkly shirt or so, I'm going to say it. I'm going to try. If I come close enough to her, I will say, I love your shirt. That's amazing. So that she can see the joy it brought me. Because you know what? When people do that to me, it brings me joy. So we're then spreading it, right? So when is the last time you paused and like looked for opportunities to give love and praise and joy to other people that you don't know and do know, especially starting with your loved ones, and thinking about that pause? And then I was thinking about, when's the last time you paused to do something just to restore your energy? Like, maybe like just sat in boredom, or sat outside with no distractions, no phone, and just watched some nature, like sitting and watching and seeing if birds come, or you're just watching the sky and just allowed yourself to pause, not be solving any problems, not be answering anybody's questions. Now, this is really challenging when you have babies and toddlers, I will tell you. But stealing away some moments, especially when your kids get just a little bit older, like when they're 5, you can say, you know what? I need 2 minutes. I'm going to take 1 minute and I'm going to go outside all by myself. And I'm just going to take a couple breaths and I'm going to look at nature. And I just need that right now. So I'm going to ask you to hang out and watch whatever, something, or giving them something to do, color while you're doing that. But that's showing an example of you taking a minute to just take care of yourself. And that's important too. Not easy, but important. And I also think about, pausing to just bring pleasure, choose pleasure, pausing to say, when's the last time I did something really playful and silly? That just kind of makes me laugh at myself, or makes me laugh and share more laughter with somebody else. So it might be that you you stop and just find a funny meme, or send them a video, Snapchat them something that cracks you up, whatever. Or sending that text saying to your friend, like, I hope you have an amazing day, or writing a card, or sending a birthday card. When's the last time you did something like that? I know that some people love getting something in the mail, and it's probably a little old school, but I will tell you, when I get something that's not like a bill or an advertisement in the mail, I'm opening that shit first. I'm like, ooh, something's coming for me. So I want to give that experience to somebody else, right? So we have so many things in our lives that we aren't pausing to take in and absorb that are good. We're not pausing to breathe. We're not pausing to meditate. We're not pausing to intentionally think and react. So when we have something happen, and our first reaction, if we can have the practice long enough, one of the ways I do it is I will put like a bracelet on, and I will in the morning choose that bracelet, and I will say to myself, okay, when I look at that, it reminds me that today, whenever I come into a conversation where there's something that I'm feeling tension, or I'm like ready to get my sword out, my fist out, and slay with words, that I'm going to remind myself that I'm going to take one breath in before I react and get curious and not be judging and critical. And I'm going to think before I speak. So yes, my first reaction was like, fuck off. But my second reaction is, okay, that really pisses me off, but I'm just going to ask another question. So it gives me more time to decide how I want to handle this situation. That's going to have a completely different outcome, where you are choosing how to respond versus react. So let's try responding with a pause instead of reacting. See how much less tension and stress happens in your body when you start to make it a practice. Because I have found that when I let myself be in reaction, I attach so much energy and emotion into what I'm thinking and feeling. Might be a little Scorpio showing, but like I put a lot of intensity into a lot of my life. And when I execute, going, check myself, getting curious, okay, where's this coming from? Why am I reacting this way? Is this really what's going on? Or am I tired, hungry? Am I pissed about something else? And okay, yeah, I am. Okay, I better just like dial it back. And now I'm going to respond from a place that hopefully is honoring what my inner child's screaming it needs to have a healthy boundary there. So we're responding. Let's back that up. We're pausing. We pause and we respond. We get curious and we then respond. That curiosity is key. So let's put a pause on judgment and criticism towards ourselves and others, because it's easy to go, oh, I've been working on this and I still totally just spout it off again. Like, oh, when am I going to get this? That's judgment. So if you can pause that quicker and go, oh, whoop, I'm doing that thing. Maybe you're setting up a reminder, like snap yourself with a rubber band, whatever, and go, okay, I'm not allowed to rip on myself when I find myself not doing what I'm trying to accomplish. So it can be, oh, okay, I didn't do it again. And guess what? There's also the power of apology. I know that might not be easy to hear, but there's power in apology. So if you do lose that moment of control and don't pause and respond, but you react and you're trying to stay committed to that, go ahead and be kind to yourself and get curious and then say, hey, I'm sorry. I did not want to respond that way. I'm trying to do better. I'm sorry. How can I XYZ? Or how can we solve this? And curiosity and questions is always going to work better to get you to a solution with more ease and hopefully some joy um, than just reacting and responding with harsh criticism towards yourself or others. So pausing that criticism and judgment and using the superpower of curiosity. That will be a whole nother episode because that was another big tool is curiosity versus judgment and criticism. So that becomes part of this practice of when you pause, you can't, because you're trying to decide how to react, do not put yourself in a position where you're just always judging yourself because that's not growth and it's not putting the pause on that and then putting the pause to let in growth and acknowledgement. So I know I've mentioned it before, but this necklace, it's like reminding me like I can respond a little bit different next time, then I'm still doing better. I might not have gotten it right, but I'm still getting it better, which is expanding and growing who I am into my better version of myself, hopefully. So my thoughts today to kind of tie up talking about the power of the pause. Thank you, Coach Kamille, is that I want you to perhaps think about times where you do not use the pause and kind of just take a minute. I would love it if you used your discovery notebook and maybe notated or just jotted down a few times where you did not put in the use of a pause that, and then could you take a minute and write out what it would have looked like or how you could have done it? So maybe you write out, okay, my son didn't turn in his homework again for the 120, well, 1000th time. And I got the call from the teacher or I got the email and I totally went in his room and started yelling at him like, I am sick of having this conversation for the millionth time. How hard is it to turn in your homework? How hard is it? Okay, that's my reaction. Okay, acknowledge it. It can be short and brief. Okay, went off about homework not turned in for the 20th time. And then just take a minute and think like, how could I like make it as if you had done it right? And if you're in that stage of life where you're still doing it, then you're prepared with an idea of how to handle it next time. So write out, okay, got the email, I got the call from the teacher. I'm going to go in and say, hey, I got the email. We've had this conversation a lot of times. I would like to know, how do you think we can change how this is going? What tools are we going to do? Or like, what's the solution? You help me come up with the solution so I don't have to keep coming in here and bugging you about this because I'm pretty sure we're equally annoyed in a different way. So let's talk about it and let's come up with a plan together. And I want some solutions from you too, because this isn't my responsibility. You're the one attending school. So that might be a much more approachable pause, respond way than the first, right? So now you've journaled it out. Oh, I used the J word. Oh, notebook. You put it in your notebook, your observations and plans of how you could do it better. So, anyways, I would love for you to have that as a little homework or experiment is take a couple of those moments in your life where you have reacted and then lay out how you could have responded. And your extra homework or bonus would be, can you acknowledge a time where you did pause and respond and handle things differently that led to more joy and pleasure, or a lovely solution that took out way less stress, caused you to have way less heavy weights in your shoulders, not attached to your ears? Can you acknowledge that? I would love it if you'd pause and acknowledge a win of how you responded and didn't react. And finally, I would just say, taking away that this has been something I've been working on since 2019, and it's definitely been a process. And so I have really had to learn how to be kind to myself. And so I would love to remind you to be kind to yourself as you learn. And if you have any questions or want to talk with me over like that pause and how to put it in more areas of your life, or you just struggle to even get that concept, then I would love it if you comment or reach out to me. I will have the contact information in the show notes, and I would love any comments. If you have questions that I can quickly answer, I'm happy to do so. And if you have any other desires to connect or learn more about what I'm doing or what's going on in this community that I'm building, I would love it if you would go to my website, poweredbyjoypodcast.com, and you can check it out. And you can see we have quest calls each month where we come together monthly on video, and we talk about questions that people have, just like this. Like if you heard this and like, but what about this or that? This is a place where you can come and ask those questions and connect with other people and explore more joy. And we also have our newsletter that tells you what's coming up in our community as well. So I'd love you to check those out and follow me on Instagram. And of course, just the like, follow, subscribe, all that things, and sharing. I would love if you do those things too. It helps me grow this community that I'm passionate about building. So thank you for joining. I hope that you found this helpful, and I hope that you will enjoy this quest for joy and begin a life that is powered by joy. So thank you.